When I was younger, I used to deal with such loneliness. I would lay a lot in my bed alone, thinking, why am I alone all the time? No one wants me. No one loves me. I felt so unloved. Now, to my defense, I was definitely going through a lot. My family life was chaotic, but now I look back and I realize that I need loneliness, and I have to reset. I have to have that time to reset myself. I need that quiet time. Now, there's a difference, obviously, between quiet time and loneliness, but I don't feel as lonely when I'm having quiet time. And however, I think it's because some of me, because I've been alone so much, has had to work on overcoming loneliness. I honestly still work on this daily, overcoming being lonely, overcoming being alone. Because I couldn't handle loneliness when I was younger, I ended up around a lot of the wrong people. Just trying to fit in, trying to just have someone to be around me, someone to love me, someone to talk to. It wasn't until my partner went away the first time to be incarcerated that I finally was actually like really alone. Um, I had to take, I wasn't in any relationship in person, in physical time, that was physically available. It was just me and my oldest son, and he was only 6 months at the time when he left. And it was such a different learning. It was such a different learning path. Each time that I've been alone in my life, it's like I have. I know you guys know I talk about astrology a lot. I have planets in the 12th house. Having planets in the 12th house, depending on the planet, but many times it means you really need a certain time alone, and you need a certain time to really pull yourself back from society to allow your energy to renew itself. I deal with a lot of death and renewal. So each time that I've dealt with loneliness, grief, having something, a transformation have to happen in my life, it's been a completely different learning curve. And this time, with my partner leaving again, it's been a whole different type of lonely. I'm more accepting of it, but it's like I'm more sad for myself. And I thought that I was okay with being alone. And it's crazy how you really think that you've overcome something or you've learned from something, but then it happens again and you're like, okay, I know how to handle this better, but damn, does that still hurt? Damn, does that still feel a certain way? You think you can just keep taking, you can't keep taking it over and over again. It still hurts. It's going to be less, but it still happens. And this time, I think I'm really going to have to sit back and learn to be okay with being alone. Because I really thought that I was there. I thought that I was okay with being alone. No. This time around, it really shows me that I did not know how to be alone. I that lesson was not complete. And I don't know if you're like me, I like to think that there's a lesson in everything. And this one, definitely one of the lessons was learning to be alone and learning to be okay with that. One of the important things I'd like to know is I think that some people can become more toxic when they're alone. I feel like sometimes when people take alone time, they can either become better or they can become worse than who they were before. I have met people who have become more toxic by being alone. Now they're angry, resentful, just jealous, just grumpy, or they isolate their emotions more. They become used to just having them around, right? And so they become more toxic now that they're alone. And just make sure you're not doing that. Make sure it's more of a self-development instead of a shutting down and pulling away. Make sure it's a self-development piece to it. And keeping you, obviously you want to keep yourself protected, but to not making sure not to isolate yourself. Another thing is, I think that one of the key points to being alone is like, when do you figure out when you can go back into society? Like, how do you know that you're ready to start having friendships, having relationships again? And I think those are really great questions that you should be asking yourself. One of the things, like when I had separated with my partner recently, not when him leaving, but we had separated a few years ago when we were off and on back and forth together. But anyway, so one of the things I realized is I was not actually ready for a relationship. Outside of the toxic one that I had already created. I thought I had done some like great healing when we were apart, but I was not ready. I was not ready for anyone else in my life. I also realized that I wasn't ready when each time that I've gone through a deep transformation of of loss, of grief, I realized I'm not ready to talk to anyone about it. It takes me a few months because I'm one of those people that the way I process my emotions, I isolate myself. I have to be really aware. Am I ready to go back out into society? Am I ready to go back out and really talk to people? Or do I need more time alone to work on me and to process how I feel about these things? I think, so here's some key questions you should ask yourself. What am I ready to share? Because I have gone back out into society thinking I'm ready to form friendships again, thinking I'm ready to do certain things. And I wasn't, because now I literally just like puked all of my problems onto the first person I saw, which is not okay. So I really want you to ask yourself, what am I willing to share with people about what I've gone through or what has happened to me? And really come up with that story so that you can have that answer without being disrespectful or isolating yourself again. Also, how far are you willing to go? Do you want to hang out with a lot of people, only one or two people, just one person? Do you want to build a new relationship, a new friendship? What do you want? I think it's also important to realize, what are your new standards? What are your new standards now that you've gone through what you've gone through, or now that you've backed back out from society, like that you've created, even if you haven't gone through anything, what are these new things that you've developed within yourself, right? Like, now I realize I am not going to allow this. Now I realize I want that. Now I realize I want this. So I think those are key points to really realize if you're ready to go back out in society or not. And it's crazy to say, like, back out in society, like I don't know, it just sounds crazy, but especially ever since the pandemic, I feel like we've all really pulled ourselves away from society, and it's so crazy because we all have that saying now, like, we outside again. It's sad that we have to say that because we were so used to just being outside all the time. And now, now it's like a thing. Now it's a thing to just be out there and to be in the spotlight around other people in society. And that's crazy to me. I know a lot of you have heard me. I know a lot of you have heard me talk in my other episodes. I have talked about radical acceptance a lot. Radical acceptance honestly changed my life. It saved me from many bad choices. It saved me from spiraling out of control. And I think that in this situation, we have to overcome the loneliness that we're feeling and to learn how to be okay alone. We have to radically accept that who we are. It might not be where we wanted to be. It might not be who we want to be and what we want to have. But this is this is what we're working with, right? Like, this is it. This is what we got. And so what are we going to do about it? Are you going to sit and cry about it? Are you going to then cry about it and move on? Are you going to just keep, and sometimes it helps you to sit in this. It helps you to sit in the situation. It helps you to sit in your feelings and to really just let yourself be in them, to let yourself feel them. And you got to accept it for what it is. It is what it is sometimes. Like, you're hurting, you're sad, you're lonely. Yeah, so what? You're okay, you're lonely. So then let yourself be lonely. I think so many times we want an answer. Like, I don't know if you've ever spoke with someone and you really just want to just spiel out how you're feeling, but they want to problem solve for you, or they want to give you an answer or how they feel about it, but you're not ready for all that. And I guess that's a good question too. What are you ready for from these people? Are you ready to have who they are come back at you, or like what are you thinking? But anyway, sometimes you have to do that with yourself in a sense of like, I'm I'm not ready for what I'm about to give myself. And so I have to just sit in it. I have to just let it be. It is what it is. I don't need to solve this problem right now. I don't need to come up with a solution right now. I can just let this be a problem that is a problem for the moment. It doesn't need an immediate reaction. I don't need to push out those emotions. I don't need to push away those feelings. Um, and if I do push them away, then no, I need to come back to solve to I need to come back to feel them and to handle them later, right? Like, because you might need to do that in the moment, but you don't have to do anything with them. Just let them be. If you are feeling lonely, then you are lonely. That is it. That is the answer. That can just be the answer. Just let it be. It is what it is.